looks brilliant, give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You're burying me, burying me. Yeah, you're burying me, burying me. You've got me hypnotized, push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy for the light. It's got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. And there you are at my hand again. Is it wrong? Is it right? It's like I've won my final war without a fight. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. I know you bury me, bury me. You've got me hypnotized, push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy for the light. It's got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Give it all you got, you try and save me, but you make it all worse. Every time you hear these words, I'll be down the road, cause I know the odds are better on my side. Why don't you try to be wise? Forgive me, I'm calling it right. I never wanted to be alive, just to feel like I'm fading. And though my heart beats a beat down, I've got the legs just to tell you. Don't lead the way, don't even say that I drown with a just in the rain. I feel like I'm fading.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Marvel Talk. I am, of course, one of your co-hosts, OLED Ed Fries, joined always by my tag team partner, 2/3 of him at least, Andre C. No fun Daredevil name today?
I didn't even think. Honestly, I haven't done that in a while. I didn't do it last week for Spider-Man. Jeez, I gotta get on my game, man.
Yeah, you do. Hello, my friends. How are you doing? Daredevil time. Woohoo!
God.
And of
The
course,
best part about
Astrid,
this, the best
natural
part about
entry
this
as well.
is the show coming out on Tuesdays.
Yes.
It gives us this day to watch it. Watch some Emergency Awesome or New Rock Stars or whatever. It helps so much. I ended up watching, because just to give myself the recap, I watched the New Rock Stars.
The 3 seasons of Daredevil review episode.
Yeah, well, it literally, like, they're because they did each season on its own. I just watched the all together one that was like 15, 20 minutes long. Yeah, it gave me everything I needed going into watching last night's episode. So episodes,
yes. I did not realize it was a 2-episode premiere until Tuesday when they told me it was a 2-episode premiere, and I'm like, oh goody, more work.
The stories told, man, were so good.
Yeah. The show kicked off in such an epic way. What a fantastic... It was certainly a choice. And we'll get to that choice in a bit. But first,
if they're going by comics, I pray they're keeping this comic accurate, man. I really am, or at least comic centric. I'm really hoping.
All right, so let's talk about this. Daredevil was canceled in 2018. The Netflix version of Daredevil was canceled in 2018. Cox and D'Onofrio have come back since then, reprising their roles starting in 2021, with Wilson Fisk being in Hawkeye. Charlie Cox was in Spider-Man.
Oh, you're right. Hawkeye was out just before Spider-Man. I thought it was Spider-Man.
The Wilson Fisk episode was leading right into the movie.
You're right.
But yes, they were both there. We also saw more Wilson Fisk in Hawkeye, in Echo. We saw a little bit of Daredevil in Echo.
Daredevil? Yeah.
And then She-Hulk banged Matt. Oh God, what the hell is his name? I can't even think about it. Matt Murdock. In the She-Hulk show. So we got some of that. But we're here back again.
That was some of the best stuff. Like, I love that in series. I watched that series. I've watched that series many times. I love seeing, because again, everybody, like, there's so many fans that are Daredevil now that only really know Daredevil from the Netflix show.
Yep.
Right? That's what a lot of people's Daredevil reference is. But the Daredevil you see in She-Hulk is an accurate representation of Matt Murdock, who is kind of a man whore in the comics. He really is. He's a man whore.
He is indeed. And we'll get to some of that. But in early 2022, Marvel announced that they were in early development to make a Daredevil series. They were going to bring Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio back in their own series, redoing some Daredevil stuff. Yes, it's a good thing we don't have to talk about the Ben Affleck version. Although it is technically canon now in the MCU, as Deadpool referenced it.
Yeah, it is one of the
that Daredevil is technically MCU canon because of the fact that Elektra's now MCU canon, and they reference Daredevil in that.
But she's not 616. She's alternate universe.
She is she is that Daredevil universe, but it's now technically MCU canon. It happened in the MCU multiverse now. Anyway,
I feel like everything that's ever existed within Marvel exists within the MCU, just in a separate universe.
Probably. In early 2000,
I feel like the 94 Fantastic Four. It exists within the MCU. It's out there somewhere. Multiverse.
So in early 2022, they started doing the series. They named Chris Ord and Matt Corman as the head writers that May. In July, they announced that they were going to have a massive 18-episode season of Daredevil Born Again. Daredevil Born Again also being the name release then. It is a storyline that they say they adapted bits of, but did not directly adapt the Born Again storyline done by Frank Miller and David Mazzuchelski.
That was Born Again was season 3.
No, this is Born Again is technically they got the name from the comic.
Yes,
and that
the Born Again storyline.
Yes, but the reference point that they were using for the show was based around the Born Again.
Yeah,
however,
that story in season 3 is essentially born.
In September 2023, Marvel started to do the overhaul of everything Disney Plus. This is the moment where Marvel decided everything needs a showrunner. We're not going to have individual directors kind of having their own vision for the show, and we're going to try to cram it into the MCU. And
Cox and D'Onofrio also went to Marvel and said, we need to redo this. They were both involved in getting that done too. It wasn't just Marvel's re-up. They were like, this isn't working. They had filmed I think they said for 5 or 6 episodes of the original one, and even those two were going to Marvel. Isn't working. We need to redo this. Like,
Yeah,
so
I
you had
remember
your two
hearing
stars.
Kevin Feige. Yeah, I remember hearing Kevin Feige was very unhappy with a lot of the stuff that he was saying from it.
The stars were unhappy with it from reports. So
Corman Ord and the initial directors of the show were let go in September of 2023, and Michael Chesta, Jeffrey Nachmaninoff, and David Boyd are still credited for the episodes that they directed, and then Scarpandi, Benson, and Moorhead were hired the following month, and they took the 18-episode season. They split it up into 2 seasons, filming in New York, and that is going to make up the 2 9-episode seasons of Daredevil Born Again. For those watching, Daredevil Born Again also has just started refilming in New York over the last couple weeks, and they are starting to shoot season 2 as we speak.
Yeah, let's go.
We finally get Daredevil Born Again on March 4th, 2025. It is part of Phase 5. Marvel's least Marvel's had some issues with Phase 4 and 5.
Okay, so I'm just looking at Wiki. According to Wikipedia, March 25th, we're getting another 2 episodes. We're getting 5 and 6.
Yeah, 5 and 6 are apparently both. Yeah, so again, more things to know as we go. But yeah, let's get into Daredevil Born Again.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Foggy's dead again. Great. I'm so glad we brought him back just to kill him in 15 minutes.
Dude, I was like, are you kidding? Like,
By the way, I should also probably, now that I've done that, hold on, I gotta find one. I know we have one. Did we get rid of them all? Did we get rid of all the spoilers banners?
Don't touch anything.
There it is. It's in the wrong folder. There we go. Spoilers. Foggy's dead.
Yeah.
Foggy took forever to die too, by the way.
Oh my god, she just wouldn't stop. Dude, he did the entire fight on the roof with Bullseye before he would die. Like,
yeah.
Don't be wrong. I understand the emotionality of what they're going for. Man, he took that's like a shock to the heart. Should not take that long to die.
Especially from Bullseye.
Yeah, because you know he's accurate, man. God, he's good. I didn't watch season 3, so I'm not. I'm not as familiar with this Bullseye. I was very confused at first. I was like, "Oh, it's Bullseye."
We have to talk about, on top of just talking about Bullseye, we indeed do have to talk about this first fight scene, because it's sensational. It is.
They did it.
They did the hallway fight scene going upstairs. And by the way, this Bullseye gives 0 fucks about who he kills.
Well, again, they brought back the director that did that hallway fight scene in season 1. He is back in working, or I don't know if it's director or director of photography, whatever. Like, one of the people on that is back for this series. Yeah. So I have a feeling he shot that. Like,
this episode was written by Dario Scarpanan, and Moorhead and Benson both directed this.
Okay, so but you don't think he was involved? The guy who directed that scene in the original season, he guarantee you of getting that filmed, because he did a brilliant job in season 1. They did a brilliant job here in Born Again.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was great. The little knives that Bullseye was throwing, the knocking off of the horn from the Daredevil mask.
Oh, so good.
And then
just that fight on the roof was so good. Yeah. Jim just him at the edge grabs him and just wham. She's just feeding Bullseye shots. I'm like, oh my god, this is not Disney right here.
No. It was definitely felt more like Netflix on that one. Yeah, and then really to top it all off, after Foggy dies, Matt's on the roof. he just takes Bullseye and chucks him off the fucking roof. Just whee!
So good. And then Karen's reaction, like, oh my god, please God, no. And she turns around and it's Bullseye, and she's just like, oh, like you can just see her give like that's not that. Because like and then Bullseye just wakes up because again, end of season 3, he got his metal spine put in, right? Or it's not adamantium because they have to use something else. Can't remember what the name of it. They put a metal spine in
the comics. It's an adamantium spine. In this,
but it's not because it had to be something else because adamantium wasn't in the universe yet, or they weren't able to do it in season 3. But yeah, like so, I'm not surprised he survives because enhancements and certain things. So
we then see Cherry, the first person in this episode that finds out who Daredevil is. Cherry walks in as Matt has his mask off, just sitting there in tears. And Cherry's like, Matt?
And he just dumps the helmet off.
Right off his head, just drops it down. This was such a spectacular opening section of the show.
Oh.
It told us everything we needed to know about what this show was going to do. And it was going to be like, you have no sacred cows.
I've watched this opening section 3 different times now. It is so good.
Yeah. We also get Vanessa back.
Yeah. And originally she was replaced, wasn't she?
Yes.
The actress.
Yeah. This was not the Sandrine Holt was originally cast to be in Daredevil Born Again. However, when everything was rewritten and the creative overhaul, they brought back in Foggy, they brought back in Karen Page, and they brought back in Alette Zior, who plays Vanessa Fisk.
She is so good.
She was fantastic in this. I thought she had a very good episode tonight. I thought she did a fantastic job. She's the one running the gang now. Fisk is no longer running the gang as he is trying to become the mayor. So we have that going on. Fisk still walks in though, and everybody understands that Fisk is the boss, and everybody skedaddles.
Sorry, I forgot to do this earlier. Because in the
Good
chat.
thing SCG's not here with his makeshift sign.
Oh, he'll be happy when he shows up. I'm gonna tell. I've made some upgrades.
Did you make him a new sign? That's not nice.
It's possible.
Oh. Anyways,
he's got to show up to find out.
Yeah. The rest of this episode isn't as story driven as that first 15 minutes. That first 15 minutes might as well have been the entire episode.
It's nothing but story. It's story to tell you where the characters are at, helping you to transition. It's a slow transition of showing Fisk becoming mayor, and shows I really like the way they did it. Kind of give us that fast transition of it. It's the 1 year late. They do the 1 year later thing, right? So, and then
so we get 1 year later. Matt is now working with what was her name? I have it written down. Kristen McDuffie.
And McDuffie. Murdock and McDuffie. Yeah. Murdock and McDuffie.
She's fun in this. I like her. She's going to be an interesting balancing point. She sets up Matt with one of her friends. We see,
unbeknownst to either of them.
Yes, which is just the epitome of a blind date set up with the blind man.
So this is great.
Funny. We get BB Urich bringing in another Urich to go ahead and kind of tell this. Ben Urich was killed in the season 1 of the Netflix Daredevil series. One of my favorite characters, and I was so upset when they killed him in season 1.
It's pretty, and the actor playing him is so good. So
yes, I was very, very sad. It's a whole lot of just a whole lot of storytelling here. There's a whole lot of exposition given to us. It's 1 year later. We're at the anniversary of Foggy's death. Fisk is the mayor. We're right around the new year. Fisk goes ahead and says that vigilantes aren't going to be allowed in New York. He's going to be the guy to clean up New York. He's going to be the one to make New York safe again. To which I responded, was New York ever safe? It's New York. But, that's just a Bostonian. I could watch D'Onofrio reading the weather report as Fisk. That man is brilliant in the role. I liked watching every movie he's made through this. Yeah. I mean, Vincent is Kingpin. It's not, is he a good Kingpin? Is he a bad Kingpin? He is, when I think of Kingpin, I think of Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah. Again, I don't, you, on TV, it's very hard to do the perfect comic accurate Wilson Fisk because humans are not that size. You know what I mean? But the way he carries himself, and he did say he's doing a fat suit this year because fat suits are, but they have evolved to just point. I thought it was just him and having weight on. I honestly didn't realize until I was reading something that said he was wearing a fat suit instead of putting, because he put 40 pounds on when he did Daredevil 1, 2, and 3. He actually put weight on.
He put weight on.
But it's how he carries himself. It's how he presents. He's always standing. If you watch him, he's never slouching. He's always stood up, very making himself. D'Onofrio is a tall man, imposing figure, and he brings with the gravitas where he carries himself, makes you feel that size, that presence of a Kingpin.
Absolutely. Really, the only thing of major importance that we have to talk to for the rest of episode 1 is, of course, the sit down between Daredevil and Wilson Fisk, between Matt Murdock.
Do you want to talk about the trial at all?
I mean, we could. There's not a lot to that though.
No.
It's a great emotional scene from Charlie Cox doing some amazing acting, but at the end of the day, other than finding out that Karen's essentially run away, there's really not a lot to it.
I just wanted to at least talk to it.
Yeah.
Because again, it's showing that the death of Foggy broke her. You can tell because he wants to talk to her about it, but she doesn't want anything to talk. She showed up for the trial because just to make sure this dude goes to jail, and then she's leaving. And I kind of like that because it allows. I feel like she'll play a role in the season. I feel she will return, but I like the fact that we're taking this in a different direction. He's gonna have to figure out some new things to do. And there was, I remember at one point watching on here in episode 1, seeing on a TV a guy in a white costume attacking some people or beating up some people.
We'll talk more about that in episode 2.
But it did happen in this episode, and that's a key little picture that you do need to realize going forward in this season.
Yeah, we do indeed, because we'll get to him in a bit.
Oh, we will. I just wanted to point out that one little piece in this.
It's amazing that there's so much in that diner. They gave us, I would say, about half that diner scene in ads. And I still feel like there was enough added in over the stuff we didn't get in the ads that just made it so great. The back and forth between these two guys, they both know how bad the other is. Fisk knows how bad he thinks the Daredevil is and how bad he is for New York and how he's not the savior that New York needs. And Matt doesn't buy any of Wilson's bullshit. at any point.
Yeah.
You know, he understands how bad of a dude he is. And it's just such a great back and forth. Because it's a great shot. You just need the two of them sitting there, and all you do is listen.
But he also gives him almost a benefit of the doubt in how he says certain things. Like he's saying, as long as you're willing to do what's right, I'm not gonna like it's not gonna be an issue. Like you can see it in Matt saying, like, I want you to do better. I want, like, you can tell that he's going, like, he's not going to make a stink about this for obvious reasons because he's already the mayor, but he's going because he has a little bit of hope in him that Wilson Fisk makes a change.
Yeah.
But
you know,
who he is.
Yeah, and then we, you know, Matt's on a date with his girl, with the new girl. You know, he saves her from people running around screaming that because Wilson Fisk gets elected. It's a great first episode. It does a lot of setup. It does a lot of good stuff.
When that scene happened, all I could think of is was like hockey riots and sports riots when people win, they riot anyways, and most rioting don't actually give a shit. They just want to cause destruction. That's all I could think.
Pretty much. Yeah. We move on to episode 2, Optics. This is a very Wilson Fisk focused episode, whereas episode 1 tried to focus a lot more on Matt Murdock and how he's dealing with all of this. Episode 2 kind of gives us this image into the Wilson Fisk character and where he's at now. This is post Echo. Apparently, according to people much smarter than I, this is taking place after Agatha All Along, which means it's taking place after She-Hulk. And a significant time, apparently, after She-Hulk. Although, I will say that I think it's funny that you can see why he gets to man-whore around LA with She-Hulk when you have that in the first episode, that one line about the friends rule.
Yeah. And then because they obviously aren't dating anymore or not together. And then there was a little spot, was it in episode 1, where D'Onofrio makes a Spidey joke.
Yeah, he talks about like different superheroes and he starts describing them. We don't need a devil. We don't need a flying spider. Like he references a lot of the New York superheroes. He references White Tiger as well in this.
That made me happy in my heart to finally have Wilson Fisk representing or referencing Spider-Man.
Yeah. He also says a guy with a skull in his shirt to reference John Bernthal's Punisher, whom we will see. It just
made me so happy. It just made me so happy to finally have Wilson Fisk referring to the spider.
Yep. Because at the end of the day, Wilson Fisk, as much as he is a Daredevil villain, he's a Spider-Man villain.
Okay, like he was originally created as a Daredevil villain. Frank Miller.
Agreed.
Frank Miller, but for a generation of us who grew up in the 90s,
the
animated series, that's where that started my love for comics, was the Spider-Man animated series. And then I got into comics because of Iron Man and oh God, please, what Bobby just wrote. Yes, please, God, yes. Please, God. Yeah. That'll happen at some point, I feel. But that to me established Kingpin as a Spider-Man character. Because they had pulled him in years before because they even went to Frank Miller and said, we're going to use Kingpin as a Spider-Man villain. And he was like, yeah, all right, cool. And he's to me, he's always been a Spider-Man villain first and foremost, a Daredevil villain second. For me,
generation of us, that's the way it goes. It's
well,
not technically how it goes, but
I didn't get into Daredevil till I think it was Kevin Smith's run because he was talking about it. So I went and read his run, and then I went, "Oh, this character's cool," and I read more Daredevil. So
yeah.
Yeah.
In this episode, we get Fisk being, kind of led by the hand by a political advisor who he's obviously made his chief of staff. But he doesn't trust her because she's a politician. She wants him to do this the political way. She wants him to follow all the rules. She wants him to do this slowly. She wants him to win over the right people so that he can get the things done that he needs to get done. And the epitome of this is they're riding in the car stuck in traffic because there's a sinkhole in the middle of the highway. He gets out of the car and walks up to who's the foreman here? And the foreman comes walking over and he's like, fix the hole. And he's like, I can't. Bureaucratic red tape. I'm waiting on permits. He's like, consider them approved. Fix the hole.
I love that so much. And then he takes that as an opportunity to stand in front of all these people. But after ordering these people get to work, get that shit filled, I'm getting things done. He uses it as the perfect political move without having to play the politics of all the bullshit either, which is actually exactly what that character would do. It's exactly what
I agree. And I love how it wins over the political lady where she's like, all right, I've got to kind of let this guy do his thing. He knows what he's doing. And of course,
he's played more politics than any politician in that world as an underworld boss. That is more than you could ever imagine. So at least in my head in canon. But yeah, that is he can run with any politician out there.
We then get to Camar de los Reyes. Otherwise, he is playing White Tiger in this show. It is a gender flipped White Tiger as Hector Ayala, because most incarnations of the White Tiger are of a female. I understand that White Tiger isn't always portrayed as a female, but often in the more popular runs.
They're using White Tiger's father here. Yes. She always talks about her father. She is technically in the comics white. She is a descendant of the White Tigers. Remember, So this, if you want, you can say this was her father. You can say that. You can say anything to that point. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
no, I agree. Yeah. I'm just saying that it's a lot of people when they hear White Tiger, they instantly go to the female version of White Tiger. But in this one,
the White Tiger male, it's just the female version has been far more prominent over the last because in between cartoons and a lot of the comics, that's the White Tiger we've been seeing. But 2000 and the 2000s and prior, it's this version of White Tiger that is prominent. That White Tiger is a newer version of White Tiger. You got to remember, it is who she is. So,
unfortunately, this White Tiger will only be with us for this first season of Daredevil Born Again, because unfortunately, Camar de los Reyes passed away on Christmas Eve in 2023. So we are seeing the last of him in the MCU and the first of him in the MCU. I love this. He walks up on what he thinks is a guy getting assaulted and mugged.
It is.
Unknowingly, well, to an extent. Unknowingly, it was two cops who did not identify themselves as cops, whom he gets in a fight with, and one of them gets tossed into a train.
Yeah, it's literally two cops doing the wrong thing. I really feel like you're going to find out this dude's a complete criminal. Like this cop is the dirtiest cop around. Or you find out by the episode. You find out by the
end of the episode how dirty he is.
Yeah, this is a dirty cop. Look, you could tell right off the hop. It's like they're doing something bad here. And yeah, he kills one of them. So
he does indeed kill one of them,
crazy.
which gets him arrested. It puts him on trial. And while Matt Murdock is trying to get another case that he was sent down to get by his new partner, unfortunately, he overhears them beating up Hector Ayala, and he goes in and becomes Hector Ayala's attorney, which is not good for their new firm.
I love the exchange though, because it really felt like it's like, I can't afford you. It's like, don't worry about it. It's the man, because he's listening in how I love that he can listen to the heart, feel how it's beating at certain points, and I really love that because I just love the way he interacts with people in that sense. I love it so much.
Yeah. We end up finding out Cherry ends up going and trying to investigate, and they're trying to figure out what to do about this, how to win this case. And Cherry finds the white tiger outfit and amulet.
Mm-hmm.
Matt is not a happy camper.
No, he's not.
Matt is not a happy camper, and he goes back and confronts Hector in prison. And he's like, why didn't you tell me you were a vigilante? And he's like, I wasn't wearing the suit. I wasn't powered by the amulet. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
Which is such a baller line, by the way.
Yeah. It just doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. But it's so funny coming from the dude who is secretly Daredevil. Yes, he hasn't been Daredevil for a year at this point, but he's still a vigilante.
And it's a year plus, because it seems like at the beginning of this, he wasn't being Daredevil before either. Because like in the beginning of episode 1, because Foggy's last words to him is, I didn't want to give you another reason, when they're talking about why he hid the guy in the first place.
Yeah, again, I understand. Like, been a year since the last time he put that costume on.
Yeah, right? The last time. Okay. I was going to say, because I'm like, it seems like he hasn't been Daredevil for a long time.
Well, he hasn't been Daredevil since he was in LA. So.
Well, yes, but it's hard to pinpoint when that was.
Again, according to MCU timelines, that was roughly in the MCU around 2025. This is supposed to be like 2027.
2026, almost 2027, yeah.
I think it's like 2027 area the show is supposed to take place in. So technically it was 2 years before, so it wouldn't make sense that he would have been Daredevil. So
yeah.
But again, that was West Coast Daredevil. That wasn't regular. That wasn't New York Daredevil. It was West Coast Daredevil.
West Coast Daredevil. It's different. It's West Coast Daredevil.
Oh, it's his twin. It was his twin brother, you know.
On Andre giving excuses.
Matt T. I love that show.
Let's just skip towards the end of the episode. Bobby talked about it. Let's talk about it. Fisk therapy time.
Yep.
Wilson Fisk is going to Matt's girlfriend for family counseling with him and his wife.
Yeah. Because again, this whole episode is telling the story of that there's her and him between Vanessa and Wilson due to him going away after he was blinded by Echo and not being around for a while. But then also, excuse me. But then once he comes back, he doesn't assume his role. He goes to do for the political run. So I really liked the way they did this here.
Yeah, I thought this was great. I liked hearing Vanessa's side of it, where she's like, my husband never really returned. The man that I knew and loved never came back. And it also sounds like she'd much rather just run the family and have him get the fuck out of her life than be a part of this marriage anymore. Which I think will be an interesting thing that we get to as we continue on.
And there was he did say a line when he went to talk to her before they went to therapy. I know about Adam. So there's a guy, in there at some point. Yeah. So, yeah. I wonder if he'll crush
for other
that.
little small storyline tidbits that we get in this episode that I thought were fun. BB gets to interview Wilson Fisk for a couple of questions based on a guy that he met that was hitting on her and he was trying to impress her.
Which is played by Gandalf. It's Michael Gandolfini, James Gandolfini's son. Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
which is nice. And she talks about her uncle Ben, who was a reporter, and Fisk is just like, "Oh, yeah,
I know
him."
I knew him.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I didn't kill
He really
your father.
knows him.
Yeah, he literally choked the man to death.
So when is he going to choke her to death? Because he obviously doesn't like Urix. So
he does not. And of course, we also have Frank Gallo, the commissioner of the police department, who didn't like that Wilson Fisk showed up late to a cop's funeral. And Wilson's like, I didn't want the attention on me. I came to pay my respects, but I didn't want the attention to be with me. Which is kind of a bullshit excuse. It works, but it doesn't. And when Gallo says, fuck this, I know who you are, I know what you do, I'm done with your bullshit, I'm going to quit, Wilson Fisk goes back to being Wilson Fisk, which is just so fucking good. And he tells this bullshit story of this like Philly cheesesteak place just so he can like lift the paper to show the paper, but underneath is a photo of Gallo's hidden child hidden away that they found in Philly. And I'm just like, oh, thank God Wilson Fisk is still this terrible asshole willing to do everything and anything to get what he wants.
Well, and I love that he's also backed up by not the kid or his advisor, but he has his right hand man that British or something. He had an accent. I can't remember what the fuck he was. But you know what I'm talking about. I can't remember his name right now. But yeah, he was great because he just was so weirdly dastardly to the side, kind of being dastardly. He's the one that goes to meet with the therapist when she's at a book to get her to take him on, take Fisk on. I really liked him as like the right hand man to Fisk.
The episode essentially ends with Matt finding the witness that he needs and getting him off to go see Cherry so that Cherry can keep him safe. And the cops try to assault Matt, trying to find out where the witness is because they have to kill him, because the entire cop killer portion of this only holds as long as there's no witness. Because they're saying that Hector Ayala attacked them out of nowhere with no reason. So they need this witness to be dead. If he testifies, they're screwed.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Matt...
I really like this.
Matt seemingly kills this cop. Like, I don't know that he's dead, but I'm pretty sure he's dead.
I don't think so. So I think knocked them. There's two cops here, wasn't there?
There were. They were both on the ground, and one of them looked pretty fucking dead.
I think they're both just knocked out. I don't think that either is dead personally. I just feel like they're both out cold. But he's pissed that he had to do that. That's why he's angry. The fact that he had to bust out his Daredevil, and So
Andre with his great karate moves, his Daredevil.
No, it's Daredeviling. Come on,
Daredeviling. And that was essentially episodes 1 and 2. Heaven's half hour in optics. The first 2 episodes of the series. It started really good. I'm hoping that they can keep this pace, but at the same time, I'm worried they can't.
And the thing about this is, all of the Hector Ayala stuff is all from the original 6 episodes. that
Yes.
were filmed.
This is all part of the.
Those episodes were all. We're not going to see any of those 6 episodes.
No.
But parts of those 6 episodes are
Exist.
being put into this because you can't have White Tiger because he died before they started refilming, like starting the season over. So any of this White Tiger stuff, you need to use the footage that you filmed before, which is weird, but
I think you can make it work. There's a way to make it work. There's an interesting thing to do.
It didn't feel stitched. Like unlike Captain America, it did not feel stitched.
Oh, poor Captain America!
Dude, it's made money. It's been the number 1 movie for 4 weeks, and so it's fine.
It's the number 1 movie. It's the number 1 movie in the country right now, but that's not saying much considering what it's been up against.
But
Andre,
money, so...
we're here at the end of the show, and of course we can't do money because there is no money. This is Disney Plus, so we're going to go to Rotten Tomatoes. Andre, there are numbers up so far for this, and I ask you, Andre, what do you think season 1 of Daredevil Born Again has currently? We have 97 critic reviews on the tomato meter. What number do you think the critics gave it?
Oh, God. Critics suck. Oh. But it's so good. It's so well done. I'm going to say like 87.
You overshot the critics, buddy. 82.
Ah. Okay.
Popcorn meter. Fans.
But not bad. It's not bad.
No, 82 is very confident score. I like that.
Anything under 80, I would have been mad at. And under 80 score critics, I would have been kind of mad. But I like it. I like it so far. Okay.
Yeah. Popcorn meter.
It's gonna be detractors that hate on shit.
Yeah. Just 500. By the way, I will give you. It's 500 plus fan reviews.
So again, people hate on Marvel just to hate on Marvel because they're assholes. But this is so brilliantly done. Anybody that's actually watched this can't actually truly view of this. I don't know how. So I'm gonna say about like 90.
Bing, bing, bing. We have a winner. 90 on the dot.
Okay. It makes sense right now because it's been strong and it's only been a day. It's only been a day since they came out. Like, we are legitimately 26 hours since release.
I will also ask you a very fun question. Each episode has its own critics rating. There are 8 ratings on episode 1 and 7 ratings on episode 2. Which episode is more liked by the critics? Which individual episode?
Okay, I'm gonna say episode 2.
Yes, 86% for episode 2, 75 for episode 1.
Okay, so that makes sense. The average would be
82.
80.
Yeah, it's a bit scuffed, but it gets there. Remember, not everybody. The reason it's not necessarily a culmination of the 2 ratings, because remember, not because there's 97 reviews overall. Each episode only has an 8 and a 7, so you're only getting a sporadic amount of people who are reviewing each individual episode. And it's not fans; these are only critics.
Give me some of the shitty reviews. You find any? The ones that are
I can.
Rotten.
Do you want critics or popcorn?
I just need critics. Here's some critics, but the ones that are shitting on it.
Born Again's dual mandate of preserving the gritty darkness of the original Daredevil series while also fitting into the rest of the streaming MCU as currently imagined simply isn't a feasible proposition.
You're wrong. Who's this jackass? What's his name? What's this jackass's name?
Jack Hamilton from Slate.
You're wrong. Jack Hamilton's wrong.
That's just the synopsis. That's just the synopsis.
Yeah, but that synopsis is wrong.
By the end, the series sets up a season 2 that audience will be dying to see. Unfortunately, the path that gets to that point is pretty rough along the way.
Well, the path has been very smooth so far, so eat my ass, whoever you are.
That would be Jeremy Mathiel.
Jeremy Mathiel can eat my ass.
The writing of Daredevil Born Again is weird. There are some flickers of good action, direction, and filmmaking after the 6th episode. Everything before that is outright garbage. The cast deserves better.
You're wrong. The first 2 episodes were not garbage. They both told brilliant stories.
I'm pinning that review. I need to read that full review because there's multiple places where it has ... parentheses. So there's multiple places where that was like stitched together. So I'm curious how that looks in its entirety. Tayana Hussein from the Hudsucker. But as Daredevil Born Again brings much of what fans love from the original run, it also veers in new directions that, for better or the worse, don't always stick the landing. Which honestly is a fair review of something I haven't seen yet. That's at least sounding fair.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like they're just kind of coming down on it. But like, they are reviewing because a lot of the critics have seen the whole series. It's usually what it is. But I don't know. So far, so good. They have done. I am 2 episodes in. I am 2 episodes happy. I'm not. I don't. I'm going to be here next week. That's for damn sure.
I will give you two of the audience reviews that they have, put up at the bottom of their page. The first 2 that you see. This is peak fucking Marvel TV. The people behind the original Daredevil seasons have full control here, and they're swinging for the fences. Anyone who left Marvel during the multiverse phase should come back for this because it's an incredible show, and all Disney did was give them the budget to make a great show. No extras, nothing else.
Yeah.
And then the next one, the first 20 minutes, ... Wow. Brutally emotional. Love the show. Happy it's back, and I wasn't disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah, they're right.
I agree. They're entirely right. And just for fun, while we're here, before we get to head on out of here and do our plugs.
$150 million it made in its first day in release.
Captain America Brave New World. Updated Rotten Tomatoes numbers, Andre. Where did the critics have it at 320 reviews?
Like 2. I don't know. Fuck the critics. I'm going to say 2.
48%.
Fuck them. They're wrong. So it's not a perfect move. But it's
the audience score out of 10,000 plus verified audience reviews.
I'm going to say like 74.
79.
It's fucking better than I thought they were going to give it. There's people are a-holes, so I didn't we're going to do it.
And I'm not going to make Andre guess at these. I'm just going to give him these numbers. Holy shit, that's a disparity.
No. Okay.
Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. We didn't do this when we did this episode last week. Average tomato meter for Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. This is the critic.
The critic meter? Like 46?
97.
Jerks? Wow. They actually
liked
it?
Love Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
I'm happy.
The average tomato meter for that is 97. What's the average audience rating, Andre?
100.
Andre, I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to put it on screen because you're not going to believe me when I tell you. 62. Yep.
What
62.
do you have to yell about? What is there to complain about on that show?
I don't know, but they found something. They sure as hell found something. 62.
Oh my god! Like
That's pretty rough.
Like I understand you and me are been far more positive on Phase 4 and 5 than a lot of people have. Like you and me, we liked Secret Invasion, which a lot of people hate. You and me liked a lot of stuff. Like I know you don't like Love and Thunder, but we generally we liked the Marvels. We liked everything, but also both of us go into things. Show me a good time, right? I think both of us. That's kind of how we both enter those movies. But how do you give how
the fans hate it? That's a surprise. And on that surprise,
no, I guarantee you it's not actual fans. These are people, just the fucking fuckheads who just want to be dickheads. I hate them so much.
Speaking of dickheads, Andre, would you like to go ahead? No, I'm just kidding. Would you like to go ahead and tell the people where they can find you this week?
You can find me on the X and Blue Sky at That Canada Guy, TikTok, Instagram, and Threads at That Canada Dude. You can find me right here on our local establishment every week for the next few weeks doing Daredevil Born Again. Oh, Ed. And you can find me on Sundays doing Point of View with the boys when I can. On the Sundays where I don't have anything else, I'll show up and I'll chat everything with you guys. In a couple weeks, me and Mark are going to take over the show and just talk F1, and we're going to annoy the shit out of both of y'all. But
I don't think either one of us are going to be there for that day, so it's fine.
Wait,
you can, of course,
Bobby.
I don't know. I'm sure I can convince Bobby to miss an episode. You can find me on Twitter and Blue Skies at EdFries12584. You can find me on the Twitch at twitch.tv/EdFries2002. Make sure you keep your eyes on that twitch.tv/EdFries2002, as later on tonight, in about 10 minutes or so, if that, I'm going to be going ahead and jumping on to talk all things episode 1 of Evolve. OLED gets evolved tonight. As we talk all things WWE ID, talk all things Evolve. We have 3 matches we get to talk about. I'm very excited for it. And I've got some other people that are apparently chomping at the bit. So there are going to be some fun people hopefully coming on some of these shows in the future.
Can I talk about WWE ID for a second?
Of course.
So just because I saw her share it on her social media today. We're getting Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling on the 14th. I can't know if it's on the 14th. We're getting a WWE ID match. Kylie Ray, Zoe Say in the first round of the Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling Women's Championship, Canadian Championship Tournament. Let's go! I love it. I love it. I've seen this match before here in Edmonton. I love pro wrestling last year. Kylie Ray versus Zoe Sager. I'm getting it again on pay-per-view, and I am so excited to see this.
For all of you that can't be there, I believe it's in Toronto?
Yes, and on that same card, at local people that wrestle here in Edmonton, Mo Jabari and Mike Clown, Rich Clark, are in a 6-way match for Mo Jabari's Jericho Cruise Championship in a 6-way scramble. Let's go. I'm so excited to see both those men on I'm just really happy to see Michael and Richard Clark on pay-per-view.
Or as the marketing department for Maple Leaf Pro is calling him, Michael A.R. Clark.
Oh, I thought that was hilarious.
Michael A.R. Clark.
Yeah.
You know, you ruined the joke when you call him Michael A.R. Clark, because if you say it all out, it just spells Mark.
Yep.
Because that's what all of us are Marks. Thank you all for joining us. I greatly appreciate it. I will see most of you hopefully in about, like I said, 5 to 10 minutes on my own personal Twitch channel. But until then, we'll see you next time right here next Wednesday, 10 o'clock for more Daredevil Born Again.